Alright battlers, welcome back to a brand new video concept. This is called Pokemon Go PvP Studies. We're going to use some Sinister Cup footage and ask the question, what can we learn from watching both screens at once? So this is actually footage from the warm-up Sinister Cup that we held before the official cup. There's Anton's team on the top and my team on the bottom in case you'd want to pause and take a look at that. So what we have going on here is that I'm on the left side of the screen and Anton's footage is on the right side of the screen. So we're actually able to watch both of our battles at the same time. He was gracious enough to share this footage with me, and I think it makes for a great film study. So we're going to focus on a couple of things here in this first clip, but the most important thing I want to talk about is the fast move animation and the charge move override, if you will. So here we're using our Bastiodon against his Dusclops. You can watch him gain his energy there. It takes, for the first round there, it took him 4 hexes to get his Shadow Punch and his Fire Punch, which was kind of interesting to me. And then in that second one, he was able to get his Shadow Punch in 3 and Fire Punch in 4. Now, if you'll notice here, he does throw the Fire Punch, and it's happened a couple of times already, but I'm going to point it out here at the end. I throw 1, 2, 3. Here comes the 4th Smackdown, and it actually should have KO'd him, but he's able to get off his Fire Punch here. And if you watch here, I don't throw another move. His Dusclops just disappears. So essentially that fast move damage didn't register until later. And I think that this is going to be a big reason behind why some of us are losing these battles very closely. Maybe there's something that we're missing in regards to fast move versus charge move. If you watch here again, his Girafarig throws a confusion, and then on the right side of the screen he throws another one, but my charge move is going to register first, and after the Shadow Punch is over, my Haunter disappears. So this might be important for deciding when you fire off your charge move, if you want to do it later on in this your matchups or earlier on, depending on what kind of opponent you're facing. I think it can make a big difference. If you have some of these battlers that are finishing off these Pokemon really quickly, and it just seems like, oh, well, the Sims didn't quite address that, well, there might be a reason. They might be doing a specific thing, like maybe after, 5 Shadow Claws, they decide to throw the Shadow Punch because based on their practice, they've learned that you can take down a good IV Medicham in that situation before that Medicham can get to the Psychic or get to another Ice Punch or whatever the case may be. So while you're practicing, there are always these little detailed things that you can learn. Excuse my bad gameplay here. I am going to get Psychicked by this Medicham. I do not throw up the shield as I should have. I go here for the Power-Up Punch, and he is going to shield that. This game is going to come really close, and it's actually going to be decided by the same thing we've been talking about. I'm going to throw a counter here, and here comes the Power-Up Punch from him. Guys, if you have not seen King's video on Piggybacking 2.0, I will leave that link in the description. It is super important that you watch that, especially since Niantic rebalanced the PvP dynamics. So the reason I bring up King's video is because if you are casually tapping, you can actually lose out on some of these fast moves that you would be getting otherwise. Here we're both tapping at the same pace, so all of our counters land at the same time, and Anton's actually able to edge me out. If he was tapping a little bit more slowly, that match might not have ended the way it did. Taking a look at round 2 here, I am on the left side yet again, and Anton is on the right. I do open with that Mawile. He opens Girafarig, so this is a favorable matchup for me. He does switch into Steelix, which is an interesting choice, given that he does have the Medicham in the back. Here comes my Medicham. I'm going to fire off the Power-Up Punch here, and if you're watching the right side of the screen, you can see Anton's Steelix gaining energy. He does get up to that Earthquake here, and he goes straight for it. Believing that this is a bait, I do not shield, so he does land that huge attack on me. I'm going to fire off a Power Punch here. Now, with Anton's current energy generation rate, he believes he can get to another Crunch, so he's actually going to shield there, go for a couple of Dragon Tails, and get to the Crunch, and even though my counter made it through, his charge move is going to take priority in terms of damage, so it does end up defeating my Medicham. So it's a really interesting situation because his Crunch did KO me. His Steelix actually survived, so that's an interesting point. I think when the Pokemon isn't KO'd, the fast moves can win that matchup. Yeah, that's really, really weird. Here we go in with the Mawile against Medicham. I am going to boost up my Bite here and do some chip damage. and I could have probably gotten that Medicham a little bit lower. He is going to throw the Power Up Punch here, and I do predict correctly not shielding this. I was counting his counters, and I thought that's what he was going to use. In comes the Girafarig, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable in this matchup because I know that this Charm Gardevoir is going to beat both of his Pokemon. I just need to protect it with the 2 shields that I have, and the fast moves will do the work. We are moving on to round 3 of this game. I open with Haunter. In comes his Steelix. We're going to count some Shadow Claws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I do work up to the Dark Pulse. It also takes 7 Shadow Claws for Shadow Ball, so I had not revealed my move yet. He does shield correctly, counting those Shadow Claws and knowing what was coming next. He is going to fire off the Crunch here against my Haunter, which I will shield. I think I can maybe get to another move or make a swap here, which I do. In comes the Medicham. We get 3 counters in, and then in comes the Dusclops. So with all the switching, it's very important to count because I actually get up to the Psychic here, and it looks like he dropped his shield on purpose. He didn't want to shield that Psychic. I do land that big attack, and he's going to fire off the Shadow Punch here. I know that Medicham is my best chance to beat that Steelix, but I just don't see it overcoming such a spammy Pokemon like Dusclops in this situation. I should have built up here to the Psychic, but I go for the Power Up Punch. It only takes 3 hexes to get to the Shadow Punch, so I know that my timing is going to be crucial. So as you can tell there, I was tapping pretty aggressively and I was able to sneak in a counter, but it doesn't matter because I am KO'd there. I mull things over and decide to bring in my Mawile. I know I can win this matchup as long as I shield the Fire Punch, because that Fire Punch would do a ton of damage. So I'm going to protect my Mawile here. I did like Mawile in the Sinister Cup because it covered the Ghost and the Psychics with that Dark Bite damage. I am not aware though that he has a Medicham in the back. So in this point, he is building up to that Power Up Punch. I could have gone for a few more bites there before I risked getting hit by a charge attack. I probably should have gone for the play rough in this situation. In the moment, I thought the bite damage would be better because it would whittle down the Medicham and create a more favorable situation for what I had in the back. So I am going to fire off another Power Up Punch to boost my bite a little bit further, and then I'm going to make a swap into Haunter, which is probably not the best idea, but I think I was pretty much cooked either way in this situation because he had so much energy and those counters are just getting stronger and stronger. I do use a few more bites here, and he fires off the Power Up Punch. Guys, this is the end of the video. GG's to Anton. It's always a pleasure to play my friend, and I hope that you guys picked up something that might be useful from this video. Let me know in the comments if you already knew about this, if this was news to you, or if this is not always the case. Maybe there are certain situations where these rules do not apply. But either way, guys, if you liked this video, it means the world to me. If you hit that like button, it only takes a second. Comment if you have thoughts, and if you really like it and you want to see more, please subscribe.